Hello guys and welcome to another lesson of the CoffeeScript Foundations course of Rails Karate. As always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @bastionbelandia. We are also as at Rails Karate. Follow us on Facebook. Keep an eye on railskarate.com where you will find the transcript of this video. Here's the transcript, and of course subscribe to our channel for supporters. Okay, in this lesson we'll be talking about a very important topic in CoffeeScript called functions. So we're going to explain a little bit how they work, because they work very different in this language than in other languages like Ruby. So let's check it out. Always don't forget to check that the command is running. So I have here my command for compile from CoffeeScript to JavaScript here running. Okay, now let's continue. The way we work with functions in CoffeeScript is very weird for some people that are acclimated with another programming languages, because this is very different to the normal fashion. First of all, I'm going to create a new file here called functions example.coffee. Within this function, you can see that the command creates a new file, a JavaScript compilation for us. So this is pretty awesome. Okay, let me show you. So the way we create a function in CoffeeScript is just type in a dash, greater than sign, and then we hit enter. Okay, we hit enter, and automatically the editor makes or performs a tab space for us. So we have our code indented. So here we can add all the code of the function. So this can sound pretty weird, but as you can see, we didn't assign any name to the function. So this is called an anonymous function, because you could remember that from Ruby we could create functions, and to each function or method we could give it a name or give them a name. So this may sound pretty weird, so let me explain to you. The way we create functions in CoffeeScript is pretty trivial, because we can create it this way, but it is anonymous. So the way we create a function, or the concept, is just we create a variable. I'm going to create a variable, my function equals to, so here I'm going to copy this, I'm going to delete it. So then what we do here is assign a function, an anonymous function, to a variable. So we are saving a function to a variable. Yes, we are doing it, and the name of the variable becomes the name of the function. That's how it works. So it's good to know that, same as with if statement, we just need tab spaces or indent our code for tell that or say that our function has some code inside. So let's practice a little bit. I'm going to use this our random number generator for our examples. So first of all, let's create a new function called I'm going to create a variable called generate random number. This is going to be the name of the function. So I create a new function here, and I'm going to copy all this. Going to copy, and I'm going to paste it. So I need to indent these. So I select everything and hit the tab space. So everything now is indented correctly. Okay, as you can see, we have one tab space here. So this means that everything with that tab space below the function is within it. So let's continue. So we have now our function. I'm going to save and preview. Okay, and as you can see, anything happened, so we didn't see the alert dialog box. But what really happened is that our function is already loaded in the memory, ready for be called for us. So let's call it. So just for call a function, it's similar. We just call its variable name. So we just need to add parentheses at the end of the name of the variable, and we are calling it the function with a net. Well, we just need to run it again. I'm going to reload here, and as you can see, we get the code running we have in this function. This way we can call this block of code, calling it several times, so we can save a lot of lines of code if we need to call the same action several times in one run. Okay, so next we're going to talk about returns. Similar to Ruby, in CoffeeScript, the function returns is always the last line executed in the function. In this case, always the last lines we execute are alerts, and the return value of an alert is undefined. So if, for example, if I open here console and I call the alert function, send some string there. Okay, as you can see, we get the window back, the pop-up window, and we get undefined as the return value. So in this case, our method is returning always undefined. Now let's improve our function a little bit. What I'm gonna do is to return the random number. Okay, so I already did it. I'm going to copy and paste it. Okay, don't forget to change its name. By the way, do you remember we had something similar to this? Oh, sorry. We had something similar to this, and I changed it for this because it's more clean. So there is a function called isNaN that returns true if the number is nan. So this is more readable. Okay, so I'm gonna save, and next thing I'm gonna do is let's test it out. 1 and 6 and 5. You failed, and that's how it works. So the code is working as expected. Okay, so this is working as expected. So let's continue. So let me explain what we did here. We just call the function. Within the function, we ask for two numbers. We generate the random number if both are numbers, and well, you know already these conditions. Then, as you can see, we got the part of the guessing part from the function So now it's outside of it. Here you can check that after we generate the random number, this is the return value of the function, because we enter to this if and we generate the random number. Even more, we can just delete this variable and we can just save, and everything will work the same, because all this sentence will convert to a random number, and how this is the last line of the function, that will be its return. So here we get the number we generate here, then we do all the other stuff you already know about the guessing part. In CoffeeScript, we also have the return keyword. We also have this. So this means that we can return any value, or we can just get out of the function in case of any error. For example, If I want to, for example, avoid this else statement here, I can just delete this and delete a tab space. So it was here, I just delete a tab space. And as you can see, we have an if, and if everything is correct, we return the function, we finish it, and return the values generated here. Else, in case something is wrong and this condition is false, so we go to the alert box, so we don't enter to the return statement. So this is another way we can work with returns. Well, it's important to know that when we run a program, there is like an index that it executes each line of our program. So for example, the program starts working here in this line, then it finds we want to call a function, and then it jumps here and it executes all these lines. Well, in case we go within the if, so it reaches this part and then jump again to this part and follows its flow. So it's important to know that functions can change the flow of our program, of the execution. Now lastly, let's talk about parameters. So parameters are same as we saw in the Ruby course. They're just values we can send to functions, and functions can work with those values. So as an exercise, let's convert. Instead of ask these values within this function, I'm going to delete these, and we are going to receive both values as parameters. Okay, so the way we ask parameters in a function in CoffeeScript is just add parentheses below the arrow of the function, and we can just say, for example, bottom number, comma, top number. And that's it. We are just asking for parameters in this function, so we can use those values within the function. So next, we just need to ask those values here, and we can call these variables whatever we want, but the important part is when we pass these values to the function. So I can say here bottom number, top number. And that's it. Let's see if it still works. I'm going to reload here, say 1 and 6 and 4. Okay, it is working. Another important thing that I didn't say before is that we removed I will say that later on. Just keep watching. What I'm gonna do here is I'm going to remove this if statement. So as you can see here, I removed it, and I moved the if statement here just before we call this method, before the method call. And why I did this? I did this because the idea with functions is to avoid validations within the function. Why? Because this is a concept called preconditions. So we want the function just to generate a random number, that's it, between two numbers. So we already we just suppose or realize that both parameters are numbers. So we must check that, or it's a good practice to make validations before we call the function. So if the function is just to generate random number, we're just going to do that. I just can delete this if I want, and the function will be more clear. So I generate both numbers, I make the validation that we had within this function, then we call it, and we do all the guessing part that you already know. Well, as conclusion, the way we work with functions in CoffeeScript is very flexible. We work with anonymous functions. In CoffeeScript is very flexible. It's such flexible that we can send functions as parameters to other functions. We can create functions while we declare a function. a lot of things that you will understand when we start practicing this. And don't worry if you are confusing with what I already said. That's it. Well, if you haven't already, go to railskarate.com. Here, just at the end of the article, you will find the coffee challenge. So this is a hashtag for Twitter. The idea is that we want to use these hashtags for our challenges and for our quizzes, for let you interact with us. So here in the challenge, we have a short task for you. That is, we already have the generate random number here. The idea is generate or make the guessing part into a function too. Okay, so not only the random number generation, but only the guessing part. So make everything within a function. This function must return a true or false value and should receive two parameters. So the details is here in the CoffeeScript challenge section of our article. If you have any question, don't forget to use the hashtag coffee challenge in Twitter. In the next lesson, we'll be talking about. Sorry, I had the page in Spanish. Now it's in English. So the next lesson, I was telling you that we'll be talking about something called variable scope, and we are going to solve the coffee challenge of this lesson. So see you next lesson, and greetings. Bye bye.